Welcome everybody on this fourth day of November 2022. That will be interesting when you're watching this on a video later. Welcome to the First Friday e-call with K-State Research and Extension. And the purpose of our K-State Research and Extension e-call is to increase the local community's knowledge of the experts, the education, and the economic resources that are available to help small businesses and the communities that love them. It's kind of hard to know who can benefit most from our speaker today. I always say in grant workshops, make your work visible. Even the people who it doesn't apply to need to see that you're active, and they will get the impression that you're doing great work. They're not sure what you do, but they know that you're doing great work because it's visible to them. Without any further ado, I'm going to introduce our speaker today, Seiler, who is formerly the Economic Development Director in Hodgman County and now is a local community specialist with Network Kansas. So Leanne, take it away.
Good morning. Let me make sure I can get the screen shared quickly here. Okay. Can you see it okay? All right. So good morning. I'm a little embarrassed when Nancy said I'm a professional marketing. I'm not a marketing professional. So I'll start with saying that. Let's see. And somehow I'm skipping screens.
Go to the bottom left of your PowerPoint, a little arrow should appear.
Okay, maybe go back one. Okay, maybe I just moved them around. The title of this is No Budget Marketing. And so for the past 15 years, I've served as the Economic Development Director for Hodgman County. And literally we had no budget for marketing. So our marketing was kind of tied into our community and business development, community development, tourism development. So there wasn't really a line item for marketing. So that's kind of where this originated. And there's probably not a single thing that I'm going to say that wasn't taken from someone else. So shared or stolen from someone else. A little bit about me. I have 5 kids. I was married to a teacher. He's now retired from teaching and doing something else, but I have a history in banking and insurance, and now have transitioned to Network Kansas. Again, my disclaimer, I'm not a marketing professional. I've had lots of classes in marketing. And this morning I've had about 1.5 gallons of coffee driving back from Manhattan at about 4:15. So if I speak a little too quickly, someone slow me down. I'm speaking in colors right now. I did it again. I hit the wrong button. So I'll start out with saying, I think a marketing budget's better, and hiring marketing professionals is even better idea. This is just when you can't. It's been interesting with Network Kansas. They have some amazing marketing people on staff. And it's like Christmas every day. When you need something, they can just do it and produce it. And it's wonderful. I don't know how many people have read Seth Godin's books, but he has one about purple cows. And he says the key to success is to find a way to stand out, be a purple cow in a field of monochrome Holsteins. And that's a lot of what marketing is just to get people to take notice. I know in the economic development world, tourism generally will say it takes 7 or 8 times for people to see something for them to remember it. And so getting the word out in various methods, whether it be a flyer or something on social media or something, skywriting, whatever it is for people to see and take notice of what you want them to see. Whoops, I hit it wrong again. Okay, so the first thing I would say is to be memorable, make your message fun, make people laugh or smile, memes on social media, to be surprising, either something that's beautiful, colorful, tasty, just unexpected. To include activity in your marketing, so contests, costumes, teaching events, anything to engage people, to collaborate, to work with other B2B or businesses, other businesses, or great causes. That will always help your marketing stretch. here are some ideas to teach people something. And I made some other notes. So think about a greenhouse. If you had a greenhouse, you could have an evening where you would host a class on how to build a terrarium, or maybe a candy making class, or how to do specialty drinks, cookie decorating, anything like that. I always think too, if our local lumberyard would do something, I'd probably spend more if I would find these amazing tools that, that I know how to use. So if they would teach me how to, the air tools, like the impact drivers and things, I will struggle to get the attachments changed on them. My husband can do it, I can't, but if I knew how to do it myself, believe me, I'd be buying more of those tools. Another thing is post and engage on social media. When you're off of this, I would, if you're on Instagram, I would look up Zach Schaefer Furniture, or Zach Schaefer, I think, but he is a furniture builder, in Jetmore, Kansas. And I'm always amazed at his social media posts. He dresses up with goofy wigs, puts loud music to it, kisses his furniture goodnight and things like that. But it's hilarious, but I watch him. I look forward to him to drop those new Instagram posts. To hold fun contests, and really the prizes for these don't have to be big. Just about anything that you can do a contest for, guessing things, trivia Tuesday type things, just to get people more engaged. Amazing business cards. I've always been impressed with the legislators' business cards that are cut out, for the state of Kansas. And then if you look, some of the card companies are getting really unique with their business cards. You can have perfect squares that are a little different than the regular shaped business cards. I remember when I was in insurance, everybody seemed to have the same insurance card. So I had a black one that was just a little thicker than the others, and it had more feminine flowers and things in the background. And I had more people tell me that they saved my business card because it was a pretty one. And so something like that can set you apart. QR codes are amazing. A kind of a shout out to Great Bend. If you've been through Great Bend, they have a big QR code on their sign there at the hotel that says, I think it says like something's coming or something big, something like that. Causes people to stop and and intrigues them to take a picture of it. When I was in Galena, Illinois last year, I was walking downtown and they have some buildings that they're restoring. And you know how a lot of times when people do that, they put a curtain over the front or something, so you're not, looking in at all the equipment and things. But this was like a huge banner with QR code, and you could follow along with the development of the building. That was really cool. And I think other businesses could do that with doing QR codes, and maybe going back to like how they make the toffee or whatever it is they do. I think that would be a huge, look at the back room type thing for marketing. Chalk art. Chalk is cheap. Summer ended. You can go through the clearance aisles and find chalk for like $1 for a box of, 50 sticks or something. But add chalk to the sidewalks, things like that. We had a young lady here a couple years ago in the community that would do chalk art. We could hire her and she could go and do some chalk art around town. And that got more people just walking downtown to the stores and things so they could look at her chalk art while they were there. She didn't charge a lot, and it, first time it rained, it was gone, but we don't get a lot of rain in Western Kansas. So it generally stayed for a while. I think we talked about the fun awards for contests and things, but, even gold stickers, first person, and it doesn't have to be external customers. It can be internal customers, employees and things. First one to respond to something, send them a gold sticker. It could even be a virtual gold sticker, but things like that get people's attention. Celebrations, I would say celebrate everything. When I worked in economic development, my office was downstairs near the elevator. So a lot of times if I knew it was going to snow the next morning, I would set up a hot water pot by the elevator and some hot chocolate, and we'd celebrate the first day of snow or something like that. But businesses can do that as well, not just your regular holidays. There's also a calendar of days out there, or national days. A couple years I bought the book, but it was like $85. So you can just Google it and find out, which days are that they've nominated these special days, and have different celebrations there. Costumes and dress up. Anytime you can dress up something that has to do with your business, that's great. Maybe it's not your business, it's the holiday. Maybe you dress up as Cupid when you deliver your, floral arrangements from the flower shop. Maybe you're a grocery store and, you dress up as a gorilla and deliver, drinks or something on a different day. It's something that has nothing to do with that day, but it gets people's attention. Hodgman County is known for their Hunt Hodgman program. And so a few years ago, I ordered a pheasant costume. And it's really hot. Let me start with that. Be careful what costume you get, because it's possible to pass out in the Capitol when you get really hot and you're wearing a pheasant costume. But once I learned that, and I kind of tried to stay outside with it and things, like this next week, we'll go out, put the pheasant costume on, run around, peek out from behind signs, go to restaurants and things, and then put those posts on social media, because Saturday is a big day for us. It's the first day of hunting season, or pheasant season. And so, if you have something like that, the costume wasn't super cheap, but we've used it now for 5 or 6 years. So it really does end up being a good purchase. Speak, write, offer, Lions Club, Rotary Club. There's all kinds of groups that need speakers at their meetings. So if there's something that you can talk about your business, teach people something, that's a great way to get your marketing out there and to become known as someone that can help them. I know we have a lady in our community that has an internet business. And so she had a class one day on how to Google things without getting lost down the rabbit hole and things like that. There's just, you think about a pharmacy could do something about a class about, how to keep better track of your meds or something like that. There's just so many things you can do. I think any business, you think about it, any business has something to teach. Our local Schwartz Auto, they'll put information out on social media about, it's this many months, have you checked your fuel filter? Or they'll put a picture of a really nasty, filthy fuel filter or air filter and say, have you checked on this lately? Or encourage people before they send their kids to college, to teach them how to change a tire or something like that. And those are all marketing efforts. Let's see, fill empty window fronts. If your business front, if you have a brick and mortar and it's full already, find somebody else downtown that doesn't have something in theirs, or maybe it's a building that no one's using. I'll bet they'll let you decorate the windows and put information about your business. You could put a lot into it, or you could just hang a banner in it. There are some really cool ways you can use Arduinos. They're like teeny tiny little computers, and you can do those and project onto a tarp on the inside, and you can almost like run a movie all the time for people to see. And all it costs is just, a little bit of electricity and a $35 Arduino hooked up to your computer. So things like that really don't cost a lot, but you get a lot of bang for your buck. Be present, just go to things in your community, be present. Volunteer, help with community events and things, and people will come to know that, oh, that's, Joe, and this is his business, and I know him, and people do business with people they know and like. Name new creations. And this one I love. Years ago, I had a favorite coffee shop that was in Greensburg, Kansas. And I would stop there and they'd have these new creations, and they were written on the chalkboard. And, it would be named after this person, Susie's surprise or something. And it's that person's favorite drink, and they would name it that. And you could do that with a lot of things. If you owned a clothing store, you could do that with, certain outfits or something. That it makes that person happy, but then other people want to see, what Susie's favorite drink is. Celebrate, and I think I talked about this a minute ago, but to celebrate less known holidays. Another one is set up photo ops. And this is really big. If you have a spare wall, a spare corner, anything in your business, or even outside your business, set up something so people can do a photo op. Maybe we just finished with Halloween, maybe put some straw bales out there and some decorations with pumpkins and things, and leave a little spot in the middle so people can sit in the middle and take their picture. And of course, if you're going to do that, have something somewhere that has your business name in it, either like a step and repeat hanging on the wall behind it, or just a little sign that says, Nancy's quilt shop or something, just so you can see that. And it'll be in their pictures too when they post them on social media.
Leanne, stop a second. Oh my goodness, you've got so many ideas. This is exciting. Go back one slide.
Okay.
So we have a question. What are the tiny little computers called and where do you get them?
I think I'm way forward now. Let's see. How do I get back? Okay. They're called Arduinos, and you can order them online, and they come in little kits, and that's a whole hour on its own. There's so many cool things you can do with them. I learned about them when I went to the boot camp with Jim Carell at the Fab Lab, and they're just amazing. You can, during COVID, we attached them to TVs and made billboards out of them, like touchless menus and things like that we put in the businesses so that people wouldn't have to touch a menu and things. Our Arduinos are just amazing. You can even program them, like put them on your greenhouse, and when the temperature or when the wind speed reaches a certain amount, it opens the windows, and when it goes back down, it closes them. They're just amazing little things.
Oh my gosh,
and that's my non-technical explanation of them.
Yeah,
I'm sure
that's fantastic. So I'm not going to stop you. Keep going, because I think
Okay.
there's a lot here.
Okay, I'm not sure. Was this the next one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. All right. So everybody remembers the movie Cheers. Make people feel at home. If you have a coffee shop, put their names on the mugs, things like that. Just anything to make this their favorite spot. I know I have a restaurant in the area that I feel guilty, really guilty, if I don't go there. Like if I went somewhere else, I would want to park my car around the corner because I didn't go there. And so I think that's the way you want people to feel. Make sure and speak to your customers, all their senses, including smell. And I think I have some more notes on this. Let's see. So I really like it when you go to someplace that, put your purchase in the bag, and then you put a little tissue paper, and then they spritz it with perfume. It's not costing very much to do that. And this is probably not a gift. This is going home with me, but I still like it. And I'm probably going to shop there more when they do that. So, and I don't think I'm the only one. I think a lot of people are that way. Honestly, if it weren't, be honest, would we spend that much on that little piece of fabric from Victoria's Secret? I mean, we could probably get our things anywhere else, but we like the atmosphere there. And so that's why we go. Girls' night out, guys' night out, if you have a retail store and you can have something just for women or just for men, or I always think, like around Christmas time, have something just for men. They can have a beer and shop. And if you're really smart, you have little things that their wives fill out ahead of time to help them shop and maybe wrap the gifts for them before they leave. And so then that's the place they come to when they need something. Local gift guides. Marcy Pinner does an amazing job of putting out, Kansas made gifts and things around the holidays, but you could even drill down on that more and do that in your own community and put those out. Like, I know one thing that in our community we try to push is Hodgman bucks. They're like chamber bucks, but people from out of the area, if they don't know what to get, buy these for your loved ones because they can spend them anywhere and they don't expire for like 5 years. So I think local gift guides are a really good idea. And honestly, you can do that with a piece of paper folded and print them on it. Handwritten notes, always thank people, thank your customers. And you'd be surprised how many people don't do that. I bought a car one time from someone that I was not happy with the car. That's one car I would never buy again. But the people kept sending me nice notes. It's like, oh, we're so glad you bought our car. And, then they'd send another one. It's been 6 months since you bought our wonderful car. Aren't you happy? I still don't like that car, but I appreciated that. I might buy a car from them again, but not that type of car. It's all about the experience. Wraparound experiences that create memories, sights, sounds, smells, things like that. When I walk into a store that just screams Christmas, I look forward to going to it all year, next Christmas. Weston, Missouri is a place I love to go, just outside of Kansas City. And they have these really great shops that it's Christmas when you walk in that store, not just from what you see, but from what you smell and hear and everything else. Let's see, I want to make sure I'm good on time. Behind the scenes peek, we kind of talked about that on social media. Let people see what you're doing, how you make things. It's really interesting. I had someone once say, I would never teach someone how I decorated a cake. They might do it instead. And once they do it, they're going to come back to you because you do it better. and they know what goes into it. I'm probably the worst one about that. I'll see something, think I could make that. And then when you try it, it's like, oh no, I'm buying that. That was a much better idea. It cost me 4 times as much as at Hobby Lobby to get the materials for it. So another thing is just to be good, to be a good person, to be a good business. I have a wonderful example of this. My mom was a resident at Meadowlark in Manhattan. And I don't remember the holiday. Maybe it was Valentine's Day, but they had a lot of flowers left over afterwards. And they brought all these flowers up to Meadowlark and let the residents create bouquets. And that was the highlight of my mom's month. She absolutely loved it. She went and made, put these flowers together for different people and things, and she just loved it. And anything like that. If you've got extras, maybe it's not the nursing home that could use it, but maybe it's the preschool or something, just share things with people. Here's reminders. And this app has changed names so many times, I can't remember it, but there is an app that you can take pictures and set it to a video and some stock music that they have. And if you do that, if you're a business that wants to promote your lunch special, put it out about 11 o'clock. People who are in their offices and start thinking, man, I'm kind of hungry. And all of a sudden before lunch, they open up Facebook and it's like, get your ooey gooey warm cheesy pizza, order now, type thing. That's great timing for that. Twinkle lights, colored lights. I don't know how to say enough about twinkle lights. They just make everything better. Twinkle lights in empty spaces, put them in your store in the corners, highlight things with them. And lighting is so inexpensive now. If you've ever seen, you can buy those strips of LED lights that you can change the colors for different things. You could use those for everything, use the same strip of lights and put things, green for March and pink for Easter and different things like that. And they're LED, they hardly cost anything to run either. I bought some not long ago, and I think it was $8 for a 23-foot strip. That was a good deal. Colored food and beer. So we all know about green beer around St. Patrick's Day. My husband makes Grinch cakes for our grandkids. So you just add green food coloring to the pancake mix, but that's a huge deal. And they remember that. And it's so much better than just serving pancakes when they're here for Christmas. Cute animals. Again, this is something that I saw, and you could do it anywhere. You think usually bunnies and chicks at Easter, but in Weston, Missouri, when I went to one of these shops at their Christmas celebration, all these people were lined up around this one shop and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I went in and they had a miniature pony. And I honestly can't remember if it had anything to do with that shop, but I wanted to see that miniature pony. And so then I stood in the store for a while and obviously bought something while I was there. I have this book in my head called Clara the Christmas Chicken. Someday I will write it. But when I do, there will be a chicken going with me to wherever we have book signings, because I think that, that really brings it to life. Chickens don't live long. We might have to have a generic looking chicken so Clara could be replaced. But that's kind of the way it works. Cute kids. If you don't have, a cute kid of your own, borrow somebody's cute kid and take pictures of them in your shop, in your business. I know someone that has a shop that's a car repair shop. And when their little granddaughter visits in the summer, they take pictures of her there, keeping grandpa busy and things. And it's priceless, and it gets people to pay attention to it. Talked a little bit a minute ago about apps, those video apps. Another app that would be really cool, and I'm sure it's out there, to change the colors. You take a picture and change the color on your house. If I had a house painting business or a lumber yard, I would know how to use that app. That would be amazing. Another one, if you want to do a podcast, the Anchor app, it makes a very professional sounding podcast for nothing at all. Another one I like is, I think it's called Waterlog, but any picture can be turned into a watercolor picture type thing. And you think about, I like Ben and Aaron, on Hometown on HGTV, and Aaron always paints a picture or sketches a picture for someone after they do a house and gives it to them. So if you were a realtor, you could do that same thing. If you're not that talented, take a picture of it and then put it in that waterlog and print it out and put it in a frame and, something like that. Or if you have, if you were a veterinarian, when you have someone's dog, you could do that, and then you could, put a picture in the frame and give it to someone, and it's really like an artwork, a gift, and it's not cost you hardly anything. While we're still, it's not really about apps, but when we're talking about veterinarians, our vet does a Santa Paws Day, and so it happens during Christmas on Main. He has some snacks for people. He has some snacks for pets. Santa Claus is there, and you can come have your pet's picture taken with Santa Claus. And honestly, there's a lot of people that's where their family pictures get taken too. He has some high school students generally set up. They take the photo, they print it right there, and then, put it in an envelope for you. But then he goes a step further, and he hangs a little garland up, and he puts all these pictures there, and he leaves them there year long. So when when you go later in the year, you remember, oh yeah, I came here, my dog's picture was here at Christmas. It's even more special if you, God forbid, happen to lose your pet during the year, but that's there. While I'm there, this is not in my notes, but I just got to thinking, my vet is amazing. I had a dog that died a couple years ago, and it was really interesting to me that afterwards I got a sympathy card from my vet and from his staff before I got a bill. And I don't know of a single hospital that would happen at. Maybe there are, and I just haven't experienced that, but I really appreciated that. And then when I thought that, that was so nice, later I got another card that said, in Annie's memory, we've donated this money to K-State Research, the veterinary in Manhattan. I have a daughter-in-law that's a vet, and I love her dearly, but I can't leave my vet. These are the wonderful things he does. So there's just going over and above, I think. The next thing on my list says bubbles. If I had a children's clothing store or a toy store or something, I would run a bubble machine outside the door all summer long. Or if it was, at all warm enough so those bubbles wouldn't freeze. Just, activity to keep people seeing and wanting to go in the store when they see that. And honestly, I don't know that it would just have to be a kid's store. That was the first thing that came to mind. Surprise and delight. So always under promise, over deliver if possible. It's, otherwise people, I think you expect more, and if you don't get it, you're a little, ticked off about it. But if you don't know how wonderful something's going to be, you leave being happy. The downside of that is every time you have to up your game. And, so you're having to work harder all the time. We talked about this a minute ago, but gift packaging, a lot of times around the holidays, people will ask you if you want something gift wrapped. I always do, even if it's a candle for me. It's more fun when I get home and I unwrap it and it's a gift for myself. I think stores did this more, years ago. They did more gift wrapping, and I know wrapping paper is expensive, but you can make it less expensive by, stocking up right after Christmas. And then you get these rolls of wrapping paper for 50 cents a roll. You just got to remember where you put them until the next year. But then that makes a pretty inexpensive thing is to gift wrap, offer free gift wrapping for people. I wrote wrap candy. There was a computer program years ago that I bought, I think more like maybe 18 years ago or something, called Wrap Candy. And it had these designs for full-size candy bars, mini candy bars, mints, I can't remember what else. But you could just put your information in there and then wrap it around like a Hershey's candy bar. And it would have your information on the front, and then on the back, you could, change where it had ingredients to, things about your business that were, like super friendly, always welcoming, whatever, and the percentage. I used that for years for things. Now my daughter tells me we don't need that anymore. Canva can do that for you. And so I still have it, but I think I'll learn to use the Canva one as well, because I don't know how long they'll support that other program. But on that, it's just the cost of your candy bar and a piece of paper, really. And on the mini ones, I think you get 8 for a piece of paper. Those are neat. We hand those out to hunters on opening day of pheasant season a lot, or I'll make them and wrap them around a granola bar. And that's pretty good marketing there. Candy molds. I just learned about the most amazing thing in Emporia. They have Granada, I think it is, chocolate. Their makerspace can 3D print a mold for a piece of candy or a candy bar or something. And then they use a vacuum sealer to make a food grade mold for it. And then you can make your chocolate that says, your business name or whatever. I tried it once with a 3D printer and it didn't work because the chocolate went down into the mold that I made. Well, I didn't realize that, the food grade vacuum sealer on top of it made the difference. Years ago, something like that would have cost, maybe $800 to $1,000 to do. Now you can do that for probably around $50 or $60 if you work with a makerspace. And, then you can afford to do that. Branding irons. This sounds kind of crazy, and I was going to bring it so I could hold it up. But years ago, I bought a little tiny branding iron, had it designed for Hodgman County Economic Development's logo. And whenever we had something like a dinner or something like that, I could use it to stamp butter patties, or I could stamp cookies with it, or you can get it hot and brand steaks and things when you serve them. I think at the time it was $12 plus shipping, but we used it at least 13, 14 years, and it's still in great shape. So those are pretty inexpensive. Crazy big gifts. Again, I'll use Zach Schaefer as an example. And I think actually Holly Lofton from Lindsborg is the one that told him about this. But he decided that he was going to do a crazy big gift for someone to get their attention. So he made an heirloom rocker for Mike Rowe and presented it to him. And then Mike Rowe gave him this huge shout out on social media. And Zach has kind of become like a furniture maker to the stars now. And
Mike Rowe is Dirty Jobs.
Yes. Yeah. And that was huge for Zach. And I know the chair wasn't cheap, but it was well worth it, worth every dime of what he had done. Candles and chapsticks are great giveaways. You can make your own candles. Just a candle doesn't mean much, but if you make the scent to match something like rainy day and, Jefferson County or something like that, you can make little ones and give those away, and they're not that expensive. Chapstick is super cheap to make. It's a little, last year my first batch didn't go well. It was rock hard, but it tested around a little bit. But chapsticks are really an inexpensive giveaway as well. A free gift is an introduction. Zach's wife, Renee, is a photographer, but she was also a school teacher. And when COVID hit, she saw an opportunity to go around and take COVID documentation porch pictures of people. So you would sign up online with her. She would drive up to your house and stay a safe distance away at the end of the sidewalk. Your family and your pets or whatever would sit on the porch, and she would take a picture of you, and then she would provide that to you. And she didn't ask for any funding, any fee for it or anything, but she did suggest if you wanted to make a donation to her favorite charity, you could. Well, I think half the community did it. And it was wonderful. And now we all have these great photos, good quality photos, that were taken. But that's how she kickstarted her business. And then this past year, she has dropped her day job, and this is her job. She does a great job, but that was a great way to introduce her to people. Display pairings together. I was at a store a few weeks ago, and in the back of the store, they had all these outfits with different pieces displayed together on a rack. And again, it would say like, so-and-so put this together. It would have every piece and what the full outfit would cost. But it was a great way to see things together that you might not have thought of before. And I think that would be something that, any store could do. Let's see. Personalized gifts. If you have a makerspace anywhere around you, use it to personalize things, glasses and charcuterie boards and things like that. It's most of the time they don't even charge you, or it's a very small fee to use the makerspace, but you can really do some cool things with it. You can make magnets and stickers and things like that. Temporary tattoos are huge. Kids love them. We used to do a Hunt Hodgman one that we would use at Pheasant Fest. And I don't know how many of those I put on men's scratchy beards and, tried to get them above their beard on their cheek and stuff. And they love those as well. So temporary tattoos are pretty inexpensive. Style shows. If you have style shows and give gifts to your models, or sometimes like 25% off of their outfit, who is not going to buy that outfit after they've modeled it? Free services. I don't remember what I was going to do with that, to tell you the truth. Oh, I know. So if you had, a service business, you could have drawings for services and things. Or maybe a better thing would be to put something else that someone could nominate someone else to get your service for free. A makeover for someone or something like that. I think that maybe has a better feel to it than just me, saying, I want this, it's that you would make it available to someone else. I'm a dog mom. I think dog treats and pupper cups are amazing. And if two coffee shops are side by side, it doesn't matter which one I like better. I'm going to go to the one that gives my dog a treat or a pupper cup. And I think a lot of people are that way. Here's just, and I'm getting close on time, but a couple examples that just personally, hunting examples. We have a small bed and breakfast, and it's not spectacular whatsoever. The flooring needs to be replaced. There's a lot of things that aren't perfect about it. But I like it because it always is kind of a testing ground for things. You can try different things. So, kind of picture in your mind that you've just driven 16 hours with 3 guys in a cramped truck cab. And you arrive somewhere like at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And if you don't know where I live, it's a very rural community. There's no McDonald's or anything, near. So if they get here late at night, they're going to have to eat a granola bar or something they had with them. But on the people that stay longer, like a week or so that I can afford to do it with, I'll have it set up so when they arrive that night, there's a pot of stew in the crock pot and the bread machine is just finished. So it smells good and it's nice and warm and things. And, they don't notice that the flooring needs to be replaced as badly as they would have otherwise. And if it's not a hunter, we always try to make sure there's hot cider and cookies when people arrive in the wintertime, or, lemonade in the summer and things like that. A couple years ago, our insurance won't let us have a fireplace, but they would let us have a fake fireplace that's electric. And so we bought one of those, and it's amazing what a difference that makes if you just have that on at night. Even if you set it to the no heat setting in the summertime, it's just a warm welcome when people come in. There's a store in Larned called My Favorite Furnishings, and none of us need to buy furniture all the time, so it's not something that, you would think that you would go in a lot, but they decorate for every season. And I mean, go all out. I love to go in there and just look at the way they've paired things together and things. But when I do need new furniture, I don't go anywhere else. That's where I go. I don't go price shop or anything. That's just where I go because I know them, and I've been in there every season of the year, and it's like, you call them and say, I need a white end table or something, and they help me find it. Little extras, plan ahead. On that, some things that do cost a lot, if you plan ahead, you can get them for a lot less. So kind of back to the bed and breakfast. Sometimes people come with a rental car and no ice scraper. And those are kind of pricey if you buy one for every person that comes through. But a couple of years ago, I found 50 of them on sale, clearance, for 10 cents a piece, and I'm still using them. I just put them out. Everybody's welcome to an ice scraper if they need one, type thing. Again, your Christmas shopping bags, your wrapping paper, things like that. If you buy it 80 to 90% off at the end of one season, you can have it for the next season, and that saves money. Same thing on holiday cards. Holiday cards can be kind of expensive, and if you want to give them out at your business, order them the year before, or pick them up. I shouldn't say order them, buy them at the end of the season the year before and save them. Let's see, people's families. We buy t-shirts for some of our hunters that say, have our logo on them for the guest house, and give them to them. But last year I bought some onesies and some little t-shirts for little people, and those went over way more than the big ones, because if they say something like and I haven't given the littlest ones out yet, they'll go out this year, but says something like my hunting buddy, or my new hunting buddy, or something. I want people to think about coming back here with their grandson or their granddaughter and making this their special place for the next however many years. And so that kind of a gift is, for one, it's less expensive than a full size 3X men's t-shirt, but it's also just more meaningful and creates more memories if they can take something back, for their kids when they get back. Okay, I still have 6 minutes. Another story about chalk. We have 2 bedrooms at the guest house, and we could tell one bedroom was getting used a lot more than the other one. And it was kind of hard to tell why. I'm not sure why. But we built a big, I used like a 4x8 sheet of plywood and cut it in half, and then put trim around it, painted it with chalkboard paint, and hung it in this one room that wasn't getting used as much. And now that one is used more. We just write a note to the people, or I think for months I had something on, like, and on the on the day God made dogs, he smiled or something, just, and I'm not the artist. My daughter is the one that can put things on it better than I can. Sometimes people will leave notes on it. Last year, we had a good one that said peace on earth. And honestly, after everything that happened with Ukraine, I think we've left it on all year, things like that. But those are things that it wasn't real expensive to put up there. But interestingly enough, that seems to be the favorite bedroom now, which is, is kind of a very unscientific way of finding that out. But I think if you're constantly thinking of ways to surprise and delight your customers, you'll think of numerous ways to market your business. And with just a little bit of tweaking, you'll find the same works for your internal customers or your employees. And we all know that happy, engaged employees result in happy, engaged customers. And let's see. Any industry can do better marketing, I think. And you can really learn from other industries. And kind of an example of this is, you remember when, it used to be if you had to have your car fixed or your tire changed or something, you just dreaded it, or at least I did, because you were going to go someplace that had greasy, nasty chairs and sit there, and it sometimes smelled like smoke. And, the only magazines were like 2-year-old hot rod magazines or something like that. Now, at least there's a place that I go to have things done for my car. There's coffee, there's Wi-Fi, there's a TV if you want it, there's a comfortable chair. I can sit there and work for 2 hours while they're fixing my car and not lose any time at all. And it's, I think there's a lot of businesses that could learn from other businesses. Another one I think about often is my dentist's office. You don't think about it, but I don't remember this when I was a kid, but now when you go to my dentist's office, there's coffee, there's drinks, there's a little mini fridge where you can get something to drink while you're waiting. I don't think people mind waiting as long as, when you're being hospitable while they're waiting. I thought maybe if we left time at the end that other people could share, examples and things. There's some things in the chat that I haven't had a chance to look at to see what that is. But if you have questions, about any of the things I've mentioned, I'd be happy to share them with you. Like I said, most of the things that I'm sharing are things that I stole from somewhere else or shared from somewhere else. And if I have an app or something that, that you could use, I'd be happy to share it. Some really low cost resources, Canva, Vistaprint. I can order postcards from Vistaprint cheaper than I can print paper in my office. And now it might be different if you have a printer in your area. We don't. So, added to the cost of going to a printer, using a printer, is that we would have to drive probably an hour either way to find a printer. Maybe not quite an hour, but so Vistaprint's a good one. Never buy anything full price on Vistaprint. They will have a 50% off coupon pretty soon. They're kind of like Hobby Lobby, or just call them. One time they didn't have any coupons. And so I called and said, I really need some banners and I'm waiting for you to have a sale on them and you haven't. So she said, oh, we'll use this code for 20% off. So I did. Maker spaces are just amazing and they're popping up all over, but those are huge for people that want to do their own marketing. Learning centers at schools. We don't have one here where I live, but Dodge City has a learning center and you can use their laminator, you can use their die cut machines, everything that they have there for just the cost of your materials. Pinterest has great ideas all the time. My daughter introduced me to VinGauge and it's a wonderful resource. It's not free. There might be a free option on it. I don't know. She pays for hers. And then I use it sometimes, but that's a great resource. Waterlog is the app I was talking about. I think Pixaloop is the one that I use that makes the videos. And then Anchor is the one for podcasting. And honestly, podcasting, it used to take a lot of equipment. You can do it with this app in your phone. And, you can go in your closet if you want to muffle the sound. Or what I did here was just wrap one of those egg crate mattresses around a couple things and set my chair in the middle of it so it would absorb the sound, and it worked great. So you could start your own podcast for your business and next to nothing. Okay, I'm out of time. Nancy.
We don't want you to be out of time. There is so much here and there's so many kudos. We're going to see a lot of people watching this over and over. Would you back up a slide to your email address? And just watch these things come in. Seiler@networkkansas.com. So that's awesome. The slides will also be on our website, and I just gave you the link. So what questions or thoughts? As people are thinking, there is a question here, and I'm not certain I'm getting it, so I'm going to read it out loud. What a great presentation. This is Elizabeth Berger from Sunflower. This is like the TED Talk of marketing ideas. It's true. What are the IRS rules about donating goods or services to a nonprofit charitable cause in a way that also promotes your business? This seems like a win-win, but I'm sure there are specific considerations. And I'm not sure, Elizabeth, are you thinking like the person who is giving the donations? I was thinking about the photographer who gave donations, but I don't think that's what you're thinking of. Is it, Elizabeth?
Yeah, no, it could be, anything, whether it's, someone that is going to go to a community event, a photographer, and says, hey, I'll take free photos of people there. Or of course, me, I'm thinking about, donating goods or products for an event on a trail or something about healthy food.
Got it.
I know that you can, businesses can get a letter to do a write-off, but I'm sure there's some finer point considerations that maybe we should be aware of. So I didn't know if you'd encountered that, Leanne.
No, the only thing I have encountered, let's see, I'm trying to think of a way to say it so I don't incriminate myself. One time I did something wrong. Way more than one time, but this one time I did something wrong on that. I had a friend who was a legislator, and I gave her something for her office, and she said, I cannot keep that. It's worth more than like $5 or something. I didn't know that. So live and learn. But I'm sure I would just contact your tax professional and ask, because I am sure there's some rules somewhere and I don't know what they are. Like our photographer, I think she was in the clear because she just literally said, I'll take your pictures. You don't have to do anything. But if you want to thank me, donate to this nonprofit. And I think she might even had 2 or 3 nonprofits we could choose from, and we did. But there's probably some things there. I think you're right. And better to check it out before you do it wrong. I was thinking like, one of the things like with the schools and things, sometimes, my kids are grown now, and I don't do it as often, but once in a while you see something at a store, like say after Thanksgiving, and there's all these little Thanksgiving type things, plates and napkins and things like that. I have bought those before and donated it to the preschool teacher, because I know she pays for those things out of her pocket. And, if you can pick them up when they're 10 cents a package and she has enough for the next year that she can just put in her cabinet, you're not going to ask for anything like that. And probably I've spent less than $2 or $3, and I'm not going to turn it anywhere. I hope that's not going to get me in trouble in the long run. But that would just be from me individually. If you were a business and you wanted to do that, say, those are the items that you had on sale that didn't sell, and you could just donate them from that. I am pretty sure you could get a tax deduction for some of that. I'm just sure you probably could. There's a company that recently did some work for my husband. And when they left all these materials. And he was like, what do we do with these? And they said, oh, just throw them away or give them to somebody or something. And there was a lot of things that the school could use. And it was like, the school shop. And sometimes kids want to do a project in the woodworking shop or something. And the materials are pretty expensive. So if you can donate those things to them, it's kind of like businesses that donate scratch and dents or things like that to Restore, the Habitat for Humanity store. I know that they get a tax benefit for that. I don't know if it's, what it would have sold for or what it's worth or whatever, but yeah, there's just so many things that could be donated to someone else. And you're not saying I'm going to give this to you and then you only use my business in the future, but they're still going to appreciate that you did it for them, and it's just the right thing to do.
They leave the goodwill is left behind.
Yeah.
So Kristen Hines is giving us some feedback for nonprofits, and Kristen is with CASA of Kansas, and so she's actively working in that field. I've worked in that field in my past, but yeah, I don't think that you've got too much risk there. But a nonprofit that wouldn't give you a receipt for that probably isn't worth their salt. Good. Super. Okay, so Craig says he's going to be blowing up people's inboxes with all these ideas. We always need somebody in our group that has lots of ideas. And Craig, you're somebody that came to my mind because Leanne and I were talking before this call. We want to make sure that we share an opportunity that's come out this week with Network Kansas and the Networked for Change group. It is an opportunity. Oh, Leanne, if you want to go ahead and stop sharing so we can see faces. Network Kansas. I'm going to actually share my screen and share over here. So Network Kansas this week announced something. I can't get. Are you looking at my screen? There we go. I couldn't get the chat to go away. So we have a new grant that's out here. It's darn, I pushed away from the other one, but so there's a new grant out. It's either $5,000 or $10,000. And this is the one that Craig, I sent you an email about. It's an opportunity to incentivize new people to work together, people that have an idea and maybe they want to work across cultures into nonprofit and even for-profit organizations. And they gave a sneak preview to some of us last week. And they will be answering questions this week on Monday, November 7th at 10 a.m. And the convening place to register is here. I mean, this is the page that I'm showing you. And the grant is $5,000 or $10,000 to help catalyze short-term action projects, something that can be completed within just months. You know, is there here on this page, Network for Kansas page is the grant opportunity with the application timeline and documents and participation terms. And then on Monday, November 7th, they will be showing us, having a show and tell or a question and answer about this opportunity. Leanne, I was so stuttering through that. Help them understand what I was trying to say.
Well, I only know about it what you do. I was on the call the other day and they introduced it. Basically what you said, it's a $5,000 or $10,000 grant, and it's about networking, collaborating with others to make these projects happen. And then that you can learn more on Monday by registering. And I'm registered for, I think it's from 10 to 11 on Monday.
10 to 11, yep.
Yeah. So it sounds really cool.
Yeah, it does. I think the speed is the challenge, and Network Kansas is meant to be inspiring entrepreneurship. And one of my favorite lines from their talk on the 31st was, they like to use chaos as a strategy. And that's a little bit what this is going to be because of the very short timeline. But you have to get your application in by October 28th. But it's not a great big grant. November 28th. That's right. November 28th. So it opened on November 1st and it closes on November 28th. And you have to get your partnerships and your ideas together before then. But the grants are either $5,000 or $10,000, not $5,000 and $10, but $5,000 or $10,000. That's it. Those are your two choices. And when they're done, you will present, get this, on May 25th. So your project should be completed by June 30th, as I recall. Don't hold me to that. Go to the information meeting and find out more. Okay. What else? I wanted to get that in, but let's go back to anything you want to talk about. Do you have questions to Leanne, or comments, add-ons to the idea? You know, universities are known for research and development, but at one of my first professional conferences, why I learned that the R&D really stands for rip off and duplicate. And so feel free to rip off and duplicate these ideas. She's sharing them generously and she doesn't own them. I just think that there's so much to be gained when we all lead in this way. I will put out a little call. I am starting to fill up the calendar for the 2023 talks. And if there is something that you'd like to hear about, or I filled several calls this year with people who said, I have an idea, can I present it? And they were some of the best. Leanne's was one of them. Some of the best calls we've had this year. And I just trusted that they knew what they were talking about. And boy, was I right to trust, because the two that volunteered were the two of the best that we had this year. Well, if there's nothing else for the good of the order, I'll leave you with this little, next month's speaker, we're going to be talking about housing again. We've had a pretty big run on housing this year, but which community in this state doesn't need more housing? Next month, we're going to hear from Linda Hunsiker, who is the director of the CDB Community Development Block Grants for Kansas, and she's going to talk about grants for state housing and commercial rehab. So if you need either housing or commercial rehab, you won't want to miss this call next month. If you have an idea for a call in 2023, send that to me, and I'll leave you with this little thought for the day from our friend Benjamin Franklin. Well done is better than well said. Thanks, and create a great Kansas day.
Thanks.
Thank you.